desculpa até a minha extensão, né, já foi parte de uma superação, né? Hoje eu estou posicionada numa empresa que valoriza muito diversidade como mola de alavancar não só dentro impactos financeiros, impactos corporativos, impactos de resultado, mas principalmente, né, impactos também sociais. Então, nós temos uma série de processos, né, e ações diversas, justamente para a inclusão e diversidade dentro da empresa e fora.
She tell about her history, and so she said sorry for extending her sharing his history, but it's important in Brazil context. In her company, she works at financial and
Não, trabalho com transformação organizacional.
She works with digital transformation in her company. It's a financial company or not?
Não, é transformação
organizacional. Tá. Digital transformation for companies and...
E o nosso objetivo lá é justamente caminhar com todas as esferas da organização, desde as possibilidades, desde as oportunidades de diversidade e inclusão, quanto trazer para dentro, né, da companhia um canal aberto com a sociedade. Daí nós temos alguns programas, como, por exemplo, empoderamento de startups lideradas por mulheres. Tem um programa de ascensão, que é meta corporativa, meta de topo, a ascensão de lideranças negras e mulheres, justamente para reforçar, junto da própria organização e na sociedade, as oportunidades que a gente sabe que hoje o nosso país, né, precisa que as empresas se posicionem positivamente, de forma intencional e estruturada, para fomentar realmente a diversidade e a inclusão como país, como política, não somente, né, como medidas pontuais e não estruturadas.
And the company goals is to include minority groups in Brazil, like women, black people, and they are doing a lot of actions to the bottom up for all the company, and they are strongly involved to transform, not just politicians talking about, but with actions. Que mais? Tá bom.
So we're running a little bit over, but I don't want to be in a position where we're talking at you all. We do have, I'm just going to make time for one question, because we're supposed to be done by 11:10, and we're a little bit over. Does anybody have a burning question? Not a burning statement, but a burning question that you may have? Yes. Can you stand up if you don't mind? And can you stand up? I just want to make sure folks can hear you.
Corporate America, even though it's healthcare, and this is my question. You hit on the point that I wanted to talk about, and that is they are strategically slowly rolling back DEI. So then my question, and I think particularly to you because you said you're at Random House, my question is, when you strategically see it rolling back, but you keep trying, just how do you kind of marry the two for that particular area? Thank you.
Yeah. You're saying, how do we continue to, put commitment and focus on this work, right? We happen to be a company that really believes in the power of the word, right? And so some of what I said when I did an introduction is exactly what I do. I try to reframe this work, right? And make sure we can call it whatever we want, right? But we need to talk about how it is important to the essence of what we're doing in business. It is. It is good business practice to make sure that you have as many perspectives around it. There are studies out there that say that you are more innovative, more productive, right, more efficient, and profitable, I might add, right, if you bring in a multitude of perspectives to a business decision as opposed to doing it through a homogeneous lens, right? So my advice to people who ask this question is, talk about the import of your work on the entirety of the business, right? We have always been siloed in this work, right? That is part of the struggle. It makes it an uphill battle constantly. And so if you can explain how integrating this thinking, right, those choice points that I was talking about, when you get to a business decision that you can go left or right, We want to try to move people toward going the more inclusive way. We can call it inclusive, but in essence, it is the way that will strengthen the business, right? So it's a moral imperative, right? I'm not just doing this because I think it is good business practice, although I do. So it's a moral imperative, but it also is the strength and the foundation upon which our businesses are meant to thrive, grow, et cetera, right? So try to reframe the work and show how it is, strengthening the actual essence of what the business is meant to do.
Thank you.
I hope you can make that happen.
And one of the things I would encourage, so we provided some documents to read for you. One was a letter that was written by the Congressional Black Caucus that we provided, where the Congressional Black Caucus really lifted up the role of a corporation as a civic citizen and the role that corporations can play in minimizing the economic mobility challenges of black folks, and why corporations have a responsibility to play more of that role. I also think that it requires a level of courage as well of companies and for people within companies to really ask corporations, are you doing it for the marketing, or are you really trying to move the work forward? And unfortunately, we saw a lot of companies jump on the George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery bandwagon because it was a marketing opportunity and not necessarily about advancing DEI, right? So we have to hold people accountable. Thank you. So before I close, and thank you, I know we started out a little late. I appreciate you all hanging out with us. There are a couple of key things, and thank you again, panelists, for participating. In the work of DEI, the journey is just as important as the destination, right? That creating opportunities for people to learn along the way and understand that everybody is not perfect, right? That everyone does not understand our history, but to really get them to understand that the journey is just as important as the destination is critical as you move the work forward around advancing DEI. Two, that there is an opposite side of the DEI conversation, that it does not want DEI to exist or succeed. So don't go into this situation assuming that everybody has good intentions, because that is not the case. All we have to do is look at what is happening in the U.S. today and what is happening in Brazil to understand that we are at war around giving people an opportunity to reach their full potential. And if you don't understand that, it's going to be difficult for you to be successful. And three, as I said before, the same way that we should not conflate diversity, equity, inclusion, we also should not conflate the struggles that various communities of color have and have dealt with as a result of white oppression, right? So when a lot of times people use the terminology BIPOC, I don't use that terminology because everybody of color has not experienced white oppression the same way. And a lot of times we conflate that. So when you talk about wanting to move the needle as it relates to communities of color, that's fine and well, but if you're talking about Latino folks, say Latino folks. I want to help Latino folks. If you want to help black folks, say I want to help black folks. And I think a lot of times if you conflate it, you take the power away from your opportunity to make the type of impact you want in community. So again, the panelists will be around to answer any questions you have. Thank you all for the folks that are involved in this day-to-day who are in the audience. Thank you for fighting a good fight. And never forget that regardless of what we're dealing with, whether it be domestically or around the world, regardless of what type of challenges that we're facing as it relates to white oppression, we will win. We just have to believe it and continue to press on. Thank you.